The Knights Templars' hidden secrets, truth, heresy, and forbidden knowledge. The Knights Templar, a monastic military order formed in 1119 to protect Christian pilgrims in the Holy Land, accumulated not only extraordinary wealth and military power, but also possessed secret knowledge, conducted hidden rituals, and potentially safeguarded artifacts that made them simultaneously indispensable and dangerous, ultimately leading to their systematic arrest, torture, and elimination on charges of heresy and devil worship that may have concealed deeper theological and political secrets. Why did the Knights Templar transform from righteous defender monks into a secretive, wealthy organization whose members were willing to die under torture rather than reveal their secrets? What knowledge or artifacts did they possess that warranted simultaneous arrest across France in a single night? And why did both ecclesiastical and secular authorities coordinate the destruction of an order nominally under papal protection? For the next 15 minutes, we're going to separate documented historical fact from legend, examining the Knights Templars' genuine origins and purpose, their legitimate rise to wealth and military power, their documented secret practices and likely artifacts, the political and financial motives behind their destruction, the torture-extracted confessions that reveal more than interrogators understood, and the controversial legacy that suggests they may have possessed knowledge the medieval church considered heretical, but theologically significant. We'll begin with their founding in post-Crusade Jerusalem and their stated mission to protect pilgrims. We'll trace their explosion in wealth and political influence. We'll examine their secret practices, documented rituals, mysterious symbols, and alleged artifact possession. We'll explore the catastrophic arrests and the confessions extracted through torture. We'll investigate what authorities feared most about them. Then we'll explore what this suppressed history reveals about medieval theology, power structures, and dangerous knowledge. The historical context, post-First Crusade. The First Crusade, 1096 to 1099, succeeded beyond expectation. Jerusalem fell to Christian forces, making the Holy City accessible to Christian pilgrims. But a problem emerged. The journey from Europe to Jerusalem was approximately 2,500 miles across hostile territory, Muslim lands, Byzantine territories, and bandit-infested regions. Pilgrims were routinely robbed, enslaved, or killed. The founding. 1119. Hugues de Payan, a French knight, and 8 companions founded a monastic military order with an explicit mission: protect pilgrims traveling to the Holy Land. They established headquarters in Jerusalem near the Temple Mount, specifically on or near the Al-Aqsa Mosque, which Crusaders believed stood on the site of Solomon's Temple. The order's official name, the Poor Fellow Soldiers of Christ of the Temple of Solomon, later shortened to the Knights Templar, or the Order of the Temple. Bernard of Clairvaux and the Rule. The order struggled initially for legitimacy and funding. The breakthrough came when Bernard of Clairvaux, the medieval church's most influential theologian, endorsed them.
What is this new soldierhood that the Lord has raised up? It is a new kind of knighthood, unknown to the ages past. They unite in a single body, combining the strength of monks with the ferocity of warriors. They take monastic vows of poverty, chastity, and obedience, yet train in military arts. Such dedication deserves support.
The Rule of the Temple. At the Council of Troy, 1129, Bernard helped draft the Latin Rule, the Templar Order's foundational document. The rule contained monastic vows, poverty, chastity, obedience, military obligations, defense of pilgrims, military training, combat readiness, organizational structure, master-level leadership, hierarchy of ranks, chapter meetings, behavioral codes, prohibition on hunting except lions, restrictions on gambling, alcohol consumption limits, economic organization. permission to hold lands, collect revenues, own horses and armor. The genius of the structure. It created a warrior monks organization legitimized by ecclesiastical authority while maintaining military capability and economic independence. Rapid expansion. The Templar Order exploded in growth and influence. In 1129, they were officially recognized by the Catholic Church. By 1140, they were granted exemption from local ecclesiastical authority, answerable only to the Pope. Between 1150 to 1200, they became Christendom's primary crusading force, participating in virtually every major crusade. By 1200, the Order owned approximately 900 commanderies across Europe and the Holy Land. The legitimate purpose. Historically documented Templar activities included escort service, physically protecting pilgrimage routes, banking service. Pilgrims could deposit funds with Templars in Europe and withdraw in Jerusalem, military protection, fought alongside Crusader armies in every major crusade, fortress maintenance, held and defended key strongholds in the Holy Land, charitable work, operated hospitals, hostels, provided shelter and food to pilgrims. By the end of the 12th century, the Templars were simultaneously pilgrimage protectors, military powerhouse, international bankers, papal favorites, and landholders with economic power rivaling kingdoms. The Crusader movement provided the Templars with military purpose. They fought in virtually every major crusade. Wealth accumulation, spoils of war, donations from crusaders, grants of land in conquered territories, legitimacy and prestige, successfully defending Christendom's holy cause. Growing independence. Distance from Rome meant greater operational autonomy. By the mid-12th century, Templars developed an unprecedented financial system, letters of credit. A pilgrim could deposit funds at a Templar house in France and receive a letter redeemable in Jerusalem, the precursor to modern banking. Interest-bearing loans. They loaned money to crusaders, kings, and merchants, charging interest despite church prohibition on usury, a clever theological loophole. They claimed not interest, but payment for administrative cost. International wealth transfer. They accumulated deposits across Europe, creating the medieval world's first truly international banking network. Royal banking. Kings began depositing treasuries with Templar houses for safekeeping. By 1290, the Templars possessed landholdings, approximately 870 properties in Europe, estimated at 3 to 4% of European land. Liquid wealth, estimated at £500,000 sterling, extraordinary for the era. Military capability, over 20,000 warriors across all ranks. Naval power, a fleet of ships defending Mediterranean trade routes. Taxation power, they collected tithes from their lands and properties, generating continuous revenue. As Crusader states fell, Acre, the last major Crusader city, fell in 1291. The Templars' primary purpose disappeared, yet their wealth and power continued accumulating. Corruption grew. Templars adopted aristocratic lifestyles, furs, fine food, luxury, contradicting their monastic vows. Military arrogance developed. They answered to no local authority, only the Pope, creating resentment, economic resentment. Kingdoms indebted to Templar banks resented their creditor status. Theological suspicion. Their secrecy and isolation sparked rumors of unorthodox practices. Post-Acre, the Templars relocated their headquarters to Cyprus, maintaining military power but losing pilgrimage protection purpose. They became primarily bankers and property managers, wealthy landholders, military force without clear mission, international organization independent of secular authority. This transformation, from warrior monks protecting pilgrims to wealthy, autonomous military bankers, created a political liability. Kings owed money to Templars. Popes relied on Templar financial management, yet the order answered to neither fully. By the early 1300s, whispers emerged. Stories of secret rituals, heretical practices, idol worship. Specific allegations: Templars denied Christ, spat on the cross, engaged in sodomy, worshipped a mysterious head called Baphomet. Unsubstantiated but persistent, these accusations circulated in nobility and clergy, not formally investigated. The Pope, still protective of Templars, dismissed accusations as rumors, but seeds of suspicion had been planted. The documented secret rituals. When Templars were arrested and tortured in 1307, confessions revealed practices that were deliberately hidden. Initiation ceremonies. New members underwent secretive rituals where they denied Christ, spat on the cross, or performed blasphemous acts. The contradiction. These actions violated Christian theology, yet were conducted by supposedly orthodox monks. Possible explanations. Theory 1. Heretical influence. The Templars absorbed heterodox theology, possibly influenced by Islamic mysticism, Jewish Kabbalah, or Gnostic traditions encountered in the Holy Land. Theory 2. Testing loyalty. The blasphemous acts were designed to test whether recruits would obey orders unconditionally. Initiates who refused were rejected. Theory 3. Esoteric knowledge. The rituals protected secrets deemed dangerous by orthodox authorities. The mysterious Baphomet. Torture confessions repeatedly mentioned worship of a head or deity called Baphomet. Possibilities for Baphomet. Islamic association, possibly derived from Mahomet, Muhammad, suggesting Islamic mysticism influence. Kabbalistic connection, possibly referencing Kabbalah's mystical knowledge. Gnostic head, possibly referencing the Gnostic head of truth. Alchemy, possibly related to alchemical symbolism. Most likely explanation. Rather than demonic worship, Baphomet may have represented esoteric spiritual knowledge dangerous to the medieval church, not because it was evil, but because it challenged orthodox Christian doctrine. Artifact possession. The Templars had unrestricted access to Jerusalem and the Temple Mount for nearly 2 centuries. Speculation about artifacts they may have discovered includes the Ark of the Covenant, disappeared during Babylonian destruction of the First Temple, 586 BC. Ancient scrolls, Jewish and pre-Christian religious texts predating Orthodox Christianity. Reliquaries and relics, sacred objects from pre-Islamic Jewish temple worship. Documented fact. When Templar houses were raided in 1307, authorities confiscated numerous mysterious objects, many never documented in official records. The treasure theory. One compelling theory. The Templars discovered immense treasure in Jerusalem, either wealth hidden by Jewish priests before Roman destruction, 70 AD, or treasure buried by crusaders during earlier crusades. This wealth would explain their rapid accumulation of assets beyond what banking alone provided, their independence from both church and crown, their ability to maintain secrecy through economic power, and the desperation of authorities to locate and seize Templar holdings. The Gnostic connection. Some scholars argue Templars were influenced by Gnostic Christianity, a heterodox tradition teaching distinction between physical and spiritual worlds, hidden knowledge, gnosis, accessible only to initiates, critique of institutional religious authority, reinterpretation of Christ's nature and resurrection. Evidence supporting this includes Templar access to Gnostic texts in the Holy Land, and their secrecy consistent with Gnostic practices. Templar ritual blasphemy, matching Gnostic shock tactics to challenge orthodoxy, and Templar knowledge of mystical traditions. The threat to orthodoxy. If Templars possessed ancient pre-Christian Jewish texts, Gnostic Christian teachings, Islamic mystical knowledge, or alchemical or astrological wisdom, they held alternative theological frameworks that challenged Catholic orthodoxy. The medieval church considered such knowledge not merely heretical, but spiritually dangerous, not because it was demonic, but because it offered competing claims to spiritual authority. A wealthy, militarily powerful order with secret knowledge and loyalty only to the distant pope was intolerable to secular monarchs and threatening to ecclesiastical uniformity. The arrest and trials. October 13th, 1307, 9:30, 12:30. October 13, 1307, pre-dawn darkness. Soldiers surrounding Templar commanderies. Knights arrested in their beds. The date itself suggesting premeditation, Friday the 13th becoming synonymous with disaster. By 1305, Philip IV of France, called Philip the Fair, was financially desperate. His reputation didn't match his name. Philip's debts. He owed the Templar Bank enormous sums. Estimates range from 150,000 to 300,000 pounds sterling. He had expelled French Jews and seized their property, but that wealth was depleted. He had devalued the French currency through repeated recoinage, creating inflation. Philip's solution was to arrest the Templar leadership, torture them into confessing heresy, and seize their wealth for the crown. His strategy involved coordinating with Pope Clement V to authorize the arrests. The plan was to move simultaneously across France to prevent Templars from fleeing or coordinating resistance, extract confessions through torture, pressure the Pope into officially condemning the order, and seize all Templar properties and wealth for the French crown. The arrests, October 13th, 1307. Timing, midnight into Friday, October 13th, 1307, a date now synonymous with bad luck partly due to this historical event. Scope: simultaneous arrests across France involving thousands of soldiers. Targets: over 500 Templars arrested in a single night. Locations: every Templar commandery from Paris to Provence. The immediate confessions. Arrested Templars were immediately tortured. Torture methods included strappado, burning, starvation, and sleep deprivation, as well as psychological torture. Results: within days, major Templar leaders confessed to denying Christ, spitting on the cross, worshipping Baphomet, engaging in sodomy, and practicing sorcery. The confessions, what they actually reveal. Grand Master Jacques de Molay's confession, extracted under torture and later retracted. I confess that I denied Christ 3 times, spat on the cross, and worshipped the head. Other leaders' confessions involved initiation rites with blasphemy, possible satanic references, and mystical knowledge. The consistency across independent interrogations suggests either systematic, coordinated lying or actual hidden practices. Deliberately cultivated false teachings may have been designed to test loyalty or shock Orthodox Christianity. The papal investigation. Pope Clement initially resisted Philip's witch hunt, but eventually capitulated. He owed political support to Philip. He received reports of heretical confessions and authorized further investigation, trying to balance protecting the order's reputation while satisfying political pressure. Result: Clement eventually authorized suppression of the order, though he hesitated to formally condemn them as heretics. The trial and execution. Over 7 years, from 1307 to 1314, Templar trials proceeded. Major trials occurred in Paris involving senior leadership, while provincial trials happened across Europe. Executions. In March 1313-14, Jacques de Molay, the last Grand Master, was burned at the stake in Paris. Final locations saw Templar leaders executed across Europe, some burned, some imprisoned. The dying curse, possibly legendary, "God is my judge. He knows whether we have committed the crimes of which we are accused. Soon, you, Philip, will stand before God's judgment seat." Historical note: Philip died within months, fueling legends of divine retribution. The papal conclusion. In 1312, the Council of Vienne officially suppressed the Knights Templar. Official charges included heresy, blasphemy, and sorcery. The order was disbanded, and properties were theoretically transferred to the Knights Hospitaller, but actually seized by Philip. What exactly the Templars knew, possessed, or believed remained officially unexplained. The order disappeared as if it never existed, its records destroyed, its secrets buried, and its surviving members either executed or scattered. The Inquisition transcripts, what they really show, modern scholarship analyzing original torture transcripts reveals the accusations were partially real. Templars did conduct secret rituals and possessed unusual theological knowledge. The charges were partially fabricated. Some confessions were extracted through torture. Some were influenced by interrogator expectations. The actual threat, not demonic worship, but possession of knowledge and artifacts that challenged medieval religious monopoly. What authorities feared most. The real danger wasn't heresy per se, but theological autonomy, an organization with resources to maintain independent religious practices. International structure, operating beyond any single kingdom's control, secret knowledge, possession of texts, artifacts, or understanding that rivaled church authority. Military power, capable of independent military action without ecclesiastical approval. Financial independence, not dependent on secular or ecclesiastical patronage. This combination made them intolerable regardless of theological orthodoxy. Templar influence on later movements. Templar legacy influenced Freemasonry. Many Templar practices appear in Masonic rituals and degrees. Rosicrucian movements, 16th and 17th century groups claimed Templar connection. Secret societies, mystical and philosophical societies drew on Templar traditions. Modern esotericism. Contemporary occult traditions reference Templar knowledge. The treasure question. Unresolved major Templar wealth disappeared. Ships at La Rochelle. 10 ships allegedly escaped with Templar treasure and officers, never captured. Hidden caches. Legend claims Templar wealth was hidden in various locations before arrests. The search continues. Modern Templar treasure hunts persist, notably at Oak Island, Nova Scotia. Historical verdict. The actual location of Templar wealth remains unknown. Much was seized by Philip. Some may have been preserved by escaped members. The theological question, what did they know? The most intriguing mystery. What esoteric knowledge did Templars possess that was worth dying for? Possible answers. Pre-Christian Jewish traditions. Understanding of Jewish temple mysteries that predated Christianity. Gnostic Christianity. Alternative Christian theology challenging Orthodox doctrine, mystical traditions, Islamic Sufism, Jewish Kabbalah, or other esoteric systems, historical knowledge, records contradicting Orthodox Church narratives about Jesus, the Apostles, or early Christianity, artifact significance, understanding of what sacred objects meant or represented, the suppression. The Church destroyed Templar record precisely to prevent this knowledge's transmission. The lesson. Institutional threat. The Templar destruction wasn't primarily about theology or morality. It was about institutional survival. A powerful, wealthy, secretive organization answering only to the distant Pope threatened royal authority. Kings couldn't control them. Ecclesiastical monopoly. The Church couldn't suppress their practices or knowledge. Theological uniformity. They possessed or promoted alternative theological systems. This pattern repeats throughout history. Powerful organizations with independent resources and secret knowledge face systematic destruction by threatened establishment powers. The legacy today, the Knights Templar represent a cautionary tale. Power without accountability is eventually destroyed. A historical mystery, secrets that died with the Order's suppression. A philosophical lesson, the danger of institutional power threatened by knowledge or autonomy. A theological question, what truths were suppressed when the Church destroyed Templar records? The biblical parallel. The Templars' suppression echoes biblical warnings about human institutions seeking to monopolize truth. First, John chapter 2, verse 27. As for you, the anointing you received from him remains in you, and you do not need anyone to teach you. But as his anointing teaches you about all things, and as that anointing is real, not counterfeit, just as it has taught you, remain in him. This passage suggests spiritual knowledge isn't monopolized by institutional authority. The Templars' secret practices, whether heretical or esoteric, asserted spiritual autonomy beyond ecclesiastical control. The Church's response was institutional suppression. The unanswered question, we still don't fully know what the Templars actually believed, what knowledge or artifacts they possessed, whether their secret practices were heretical or merely esoteric. What happened to escaped members and their treasures? History suppressed their secrets so effectively that we may never fully recover them. Yet the persistence of Templar legend across centuries, cultures, and interpretations suggests they possessed or represented something genuinely significant. Whether that significance was spiritual, historical, or merely political remains a mystery that defines the Knights Templar. This is Hidden Histories. Like, share, and subscribe for more biblical mysteries, ancient truths, and forbidden knowledge revealed daily.